Welcome to the September Market Report. Today we're going to go over market trends in Vero Beach. We are going to dive into why job numbers have an impact on the housing market, and we're going to discuss why this September may be the best time to buy a home. Let's get the Federal Reserve and interest rate talk out of the way. After a welcome move lower, the 30-year mortgage rate is currently hovering around 7%. And thanks to all the relatively good news over the last week, the market is now putting a 90% probability on the Fed not raising rates again at their September 20th meeting. Now, then we'll find out whether or not they're just going to skip or if they're actually going to start seeing what everybody else already knows. We're also seeing some change in job numbers, so let's briefly discuss why the job numbers are so important. The Fed wants more than just lower inflation. Jerome Powell's Christmas wish list would include a looser job market, meaning higher unemployment, and a housing market reset, which means he wants lower home prices. Since both of these items feed into inflation, the idea is that higher unemployment and lower home prices will keep inflation sustainably lower. But Mr. Powell isn't likely to get lower home prices. And to be honest, it's the Fed's fault. By keeping rates so low for so long, basically everybody, including my mother, was able to access bargain basement mortgage rates. Millions of would-be sellers now sit on the sideline with rates that they're not willing to forfeit. That is creating a unbelievably low inventory. So both demand and supply have dropped, but supply has fallen more, so prices are actually trending up. But he can get looser job market. And so Mr. Powell is playing chicken with the economy, hoping to slow economic activity just enough, but without causing a recession. Unfortunately, history suggests that this is very, very difficult to achieve. Most major tightening campaigns, like the one we're technically still in, result in economic contraction. Something always breaks. But that being said, how is Vero Beach reacting to all of this? You may be surprised. You see, up to this point, all of these changes have had very little impact on the Vero Beach market. In fact, some of these numbers we're about to go over are actually surprising. Keep in mind, we are a more seasonal community relying on those that are a little less insulated from the day-to-day issues of microeconomics. At the same time, if you compare places like Vero Beach to Delray Beach or Naples, you will determine Vero is still where you get the most bang for your buck. If you are east of the Tamiami in Naples, but not on the water, you can expect to pay somewhere between $2.5 and $6.5 million for a single family home. And in Delray, you're paying $2 to $3 million to live in the Lake Ida area, which is off the island and out by I-95. If you're on the island, you should expect to pay $2 to $6 million for a home. Again, not on the water. So when we build a brand new home in Vero Beach on the island and it's costing $2.5 million, that still looks like a deal. And at $1 million, even though those homes need a lot of work, when they're completed, they are still well undervalued compared to elsewhere in the state. So, all that being said, let's look at the state of our market here in Vero Beach. Number one, sales are down. Now, don't confuse this with prices are down, because they're not. Listing prices are actually up 10% since this time last year. But this chart shows that the number of units sold is lower, and if we look at the current month of available inventory, we see why. Our inventory is going in the wrong direction. A healthy market, one that does not favor the buyer or the seller, would typically have around 6 months of available inventory. We have been on a downward slide, and we now sit at just 1.9 months of inventory, which is a decrease of over 50% year over year. So we see reports that sales are down, and this is why. There just isn't enough inventory to keep up with the demand. Number two, sales are up. I know, I just told you sales are down. Here's what I'm referring to, is that homes are going under contract at a record-setting pace. Here you can see that in August, we put more properties under contract than any other month over the last 12 months. And that year over year, we are up 56%. Even if we go back 2 years when we were in what we would say the height of the housing boom, we can see we sold more properties this August than any time during that 2-year period. That is amazing because not only do we have less inventory, and not only because prices have increased, but in August we saw interest rates reach their highest point in 25 years. So what's going to happen to our market? As I mentioned earlier, we are a seasonal community, and as long as we have great weather and a charming town, those that can will continue to move here. Also, our prices are more attractive than most coastal towns around the state. Another key element is that the state has just approved 5 insurance companies to enter into our insurance market, and they've made insurance litigation much tougher, which will help drop our insurance rates, making home ownership more affordable. So as rates drop, which we expect they will over the next 12 months, more buyers will re-enter the market, and that will create another feeding frenzy. This may be the best time to buy a home in Vero Beach, before season gets here, before buyers return to the market, and before you find yourself priced out. If you have any questions for me, or would like to discuss your housing options, please reach out. I'm Tripp Hernandez with Dale Sorensen Real Estate in Vero Beach, Florida. Thanks for watching and have a great week.